Welcome back to the TwinSpires Jury. I'm Ashley Anderson here with James Scully and our special guest today, Nick Tammaro, filling in for Darren, who's on vacation. Nick is a very busy man. You'll see him on TwinSpires with our expert pick videos at Gulfstream Park this meet. He also is the morning line maker at Keeneland for the spring meet coming up. He's a track announcer at Sam Houston and a Houston sports fan. So happy opening day.
Thank you very much, Ashley. Very exciting day, no doubt about it. Headed towards spring. A lot of signs that we're headed towards the Derby as well. So good things.
We're going to talk Gulfstream Park and Oaklawn Park today. So I'll let you start things off, Nick. Tell me what your best bet of the week is and where you're going to play that.
Yeah, so I'm excited about this Gulfstream Park card. I'm glad we had a week or so to look at it because it needed every bit of it. But my best bet of the day is going to come at Gulfstream on Saturday in race 4, number 1 Rotterdam, who's 4-1 on the morning line, and a horse that's coming in off a second place finish behind my Sea Cottage. He had a good trip that day, no doubt about it, but I do like that he made a pretty strong move from off the pace. He's now third off the layoff, and his turf races have been, all 3 of them now in totality, have been very solid. I think he'll get a decent amount of pace to run out. I love the inside draw. His task will get a little bit weaker because it looks like Napoleonic War, who's drawn towards the outside, is going to come back on Sunday and run in a race on closing day of the championship meet. So that'll make things a little easier for Rotterdam. I'm looking forward to betting him in a spot where I think he should be pretty tough.
What do you think?
I'll stay at Gulfstream as well for my best bet. It's going to be number 8, Donegal Forever in the Go Sapper Stakes. And Donegal Forever is a colt for Todd Pletcher, that a pioneer of the Nile colt, made his debut last June at Belmont Park. I watched that race live, and I was really, I thought it was remarkable. He got bet off the board in that race and completely missed the start. I mean, he stumbled out of the gate and fell several lengths behind the next to last horse early. And I thought his run that day was brilliant. That race came back fast. He got a 94 Bristol speed rating for winning by more than 4 lengths that maiden race. Came out of that race with something wrong with him, went on the sidelines, didn't come back until February 18th. And that was over at Sloppy Track at Gulfstream, but I was encouraged to see Donegal Forever break better that day and run a winning race. And now, granted, the runner-up that day, Bourbon Resolve, he made him work for the victory, but that horse was coming off some solid efforts. I thought it was a very encouraging comeback performance, and one that Donegal Forever is just going to move forward off of. I thought it was stakes quality when I saw him last summer. I thought Steel Sunshine and Tumbarumba, they really come off a hard, grueling race in the Gulfstream Park Mile. I don't think they're the toughest stakes rivals for Donegal Forever to be running against in his first stakes attempt. And I think this is an opportunity to perhaps get a decent price as well. 6-1 on the morning line. I look for Donegal Forever to run a big race in his stakes debut on Saturday, Ashley.
Any concern that he hasn't clocked a triple-digit Bristnet speed figure yet? Because there's a few runners in the field that have.
Well, they have, but I think those triple-digit numbers are coming for Donegal Forever. That's what I'm of the belief that he's going to be of stakes quality, and his numbers are only going to continue to increase and rise in upcoming starts.
I like the pick. I thought number 1, Lure Him In, was interesting too. First start for Safi Joseph and had that 100 brisk speed figure 2 back. So we'll see with the rail post there too. But I like going for that price because you're not getting a good one with Steel Sunshine or Tumbarumba either. Well, I'm going to take it to race 2 at Gulfstream, and I'm going with number 2, Posiblemente. I get to use some of my Spanish major here. Hope I don't butcher any Spanish today. He's 8-1 on the morning line. I'm going with a pace angle / track bias angle here. Posiblemente has the early speed to his inside with number 1, the best distance, who's picking up Paco Lopez, who was on the morning line favorite Fly the W last out. And now Fly the W is picking up, Nick, you might have to help me out here. Is it I don't know how to say his first name, but Jaramillo is his last name. And
Misael Jaramillo, yeah.
There you go. He's the former rider of the best distance. So there's a little flip-flopping going here with the jockeys of those 2 horses. The early speed's coming from the rail and the outside post. And so I'm looking for a later run to close. Posiblemente won 2 back at today's distance, and he got a career best 91 Bristnet speed figure. Now, his first start was on all-weather at Presque Isle. He was beaten a half-length racing a mile and 70 yards. He stretched out The next start was second again, and then finally the winning formula was 1 1/8 of a mile. So I'm looking for him to rebound here and get the win at that distance. He tried turf last out, but his trainer is a high percentage winner going from turf to all weather. He's a 17% winner, third off the layoff, and he's 5 for 11 on synthetic tracks. We're also getting Javier Castellano aboard. So I'm looking at all these angles to try to go for a price, because Fly the W is 9 to 5 and Spirit Animal is 2 to 1. They're both late runners, certainly could win this race, but I don't like the price, and I think there's a shot here at 8 to 1 on the morning line.
Yeah, I mean, and he's certainly run well in both efforts there on the Tapeta at Gulfstream Park.
All right, let's
No doubt
talk.
about it. Looks like a good pace play too.
All right, let's talk the horses we're fading at a short price. James, who do you have?
I'm going to fade number 1, My Main Squeeze, in the fantasy stakes, excuse me. She's the 3 to 1 morning line favorite for Michael Maker. A New York bred fillies run strictly in New York bred races. My Main Squeeze has won 3 consecutive restricted stakes by convincing margins. So, I mean, she has some quality to her, but one thing about her is she's never been 2 turns. All 4 of those races were 6, 7 furlong sprints. And 2 of the last 3 have been a one turn mile distance at Aqueduct. So I think My Main Squeeze likes to race up close. I mean, she's not a need to lead type at all, but she's more of like an up close stalker. She's going to have to work out a trip from this innermost post with speed to her outside. I think she's vulnerable taking on open company in there. And I'll mention number 12, Torpedo Anna. She's coming back from a layoff. She's the 7 to 2 second choice on the morning line. I don't like the post. I think that juvenile form is overrated, or it's going to be overbet for her. So I'm going to take a shot against the top 2 choices on the morning line in the fantasy stakes.
I thought Body Yaw was an interesting play at 12 to 1 for Tom Amos. If you're looking for another runner, just won by more than 5 lengths at 1 mile and 70 yards in a stakes that was taken off the turf. So trying to find a different angle here with some prices at Gulfstream, because I certainly think there's some vulnerable favorites.
Yeah, and she ran against Tarifa 2 back. So she's won 2 of her last 3 starts, and the one that she got beat in, she ran a decent third. I mean, ran a third to a really nice rival.
Nick, who's your fade this week?
I'm going to fade the 8 set in race 3 at Gulfstream on Saturday, the Cutler Bay. Second time starter who's even money on the morning line. The Son of Oscar Performance really turned heads with an eye-catching debut. But he set a slow pace that day. I felt like the best horses in that race really were compromised by the way things shook out. I don't love necessarily the way things are going to shake out for him here with significantly more speed lined up. He's now drawn outside. He also comes off Lasix. This is the kind of horse I want to try and beat in the early sequential wagers, like the pick 4 and pick 5, because I think there's going to be a tremendous amount of value in doing so. Now, I wish I had horses that I liked more, but he's definitely one that I want to try and bet against at what should be I consider to be too short a price in that even money or potentially, 6 to 5-ish type range.
I agree with you there. I mean, he certainly had a flashy Bristnet speed figure, but I like trying to beat him here in this spot. What do you think, James? Do you have any other horses you'd circle here?
No, I mean, I didn't really. I just glanced at that 7.5 furlong turf stake, and I saw, Set was in there, but haven't had a real chance to break down his rivals.
Well, I'm going to take it to race 9 at Gulfstream, the Sir Shackleton Stakes, and I'm going to fade number 3, Long Range Toddy at 5 to 2. The par winning speed figure for 7 furlong races at Gulfstream is a 96, and Long Range Toddy has posted a pair of 87 Bristnet speed figures in his last 2, including his first start of the season in February in the Gulfstream Park Sprint. He won 3 back at a mile when facing just 5 rivals in a handicap at Gulfstream, and he drew the rail post, but he'll face 8 rivals here. Here's the interesting note on Long Range Toddy. You have to go back 37 starts to find a time that he beat a field with more than 7 horses. So that's my angle here. He's got a lot of rivals to face, and I don't think he's going to come out on top here. His trainer's also winning at just an 8% clip this meet. He's 6 for 71. And there are no recorded workouts for Long Range Toddy since February 16th before he ran that Gulfstream Park Sprint. So I'm fading him here. I think that Oscar Eclipse is a pretty good choice here at 4 to 1. We also have the 2 inside runners, I think, have a chance in this spot. So fading Long Range Toddy at 5 to 2.
I like it. I thought Oscar Eclipse was a really interesting horse too on the cutback. Obviously looking for a starting point to his 4-year-old campaign, but these Oscar Performance runners have really done incredibly well on dirt. I've been very impressed by the number of dirt stakes winners, and specifically that he's had. This horse looks like a great fit at 7 furlongs too.
Well, normally I'd throw it to Darren to talk about promos, but since he is not here, I'm going to try to tackle it myself. We have two very important promos this weekend with our Derby prep races. The first is our winter money back offer. You can get up to $10 back on your win bet if your horse finishes second or third in the Arkansas Derby or the Florida Derby. And we also have 3 races at Dubai: the Dubai World Cup, the Shima Classic, and the UAE Derby. We also have a Road to the Kentucky Derby profit boost where you get a 15% boost on winning win, exacta, trifecta, and superfecta wagers on eligible races at Gulfstream and Oaklawn this Saturday. So definitely check that out at TwinSpires.com or the TwinSpires app. All right, Nick, let's look at what else is going on this weekend. So what else will you be watching for?
Yeah, I think I'm really obviously excited about this Gulfstream card, and certainly going to get things started early in the day with the Dubai World Cup. But I think one of the biggest things, one of the biggest themes throughout this Gulfstream card is Chad Brown bringing horses back off of layoffs. And I feel like one horse that's kind of slipped under the radar in terms of coming back from a layoff is the 4 Ways and Means in race 11, the Gulfstream Park Oak. She was a really, really impressive debut winner last summer at Saratoga, came back and was a huge favorite in the spinaway, finished second despite a somewhat troubled trip behind the highly regarded Brightwork at that point in time. Now she's back off a layoff, reportedly training very well. I'm really excited to see if she's grown up a little bit, if she's gotten a little bit better now as a 3-year-old, because she could be a really interesting addition to the mix for the Kentucky Oaks. So looking forward to seeing Ways and Means come back, and a couple of her stablemates, Market Segmentation and McCulloch, both of whom were graded stake winners last year. Market Segmentation, a grade 1 winner. They're both coming back off layoffs as well, looking to get their 2024 started in style. So big day for fillies from the Chad Brown barn, including Ways and Means, who I'm hoping is going to be set to be a real player in the Oaks.
Yeah, I'll just say, I mean, Ways and Mean, I thought her races last year, her maiden win was, one of the most impressive maiden wins you'll ever see at Saratoga. I know she's bred for 2 turns. She had all that speed, though, last year. I'll be interested to see if she can stretch out. The way the Oaks picture is this year, I mean, you got Ways and Means in the Gulfstream Park Oaks. You've got this Torpedo Anna coming back in the fantasy, and we still got Candied and Just FYI potentially in the Ashland. So we got some fillies that are coming back that are classy juveniles that haven't run this year, and I'm excited to see how that they all shake out, because 2 turns is really a little bit the question with Ways and Means. I think she's got the talent just to crush those foes if she gets the distance.
No doubt about it. Really looking forward to it.
And I'll just mention the two big Kentucky Derby preps. Fierceness, he's going to try to rebound from that Holy Bull in the Florida Derby. And he's the juvenile champion male, won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, but he's made 3 stakes appearances, and he's faltered in 2 of them at extremely short odds. In both races, he didn't break well. I can't envision a horse at this, coming up into the final prep where the break seemingly is so important and being drawn outside. I hope Fierceness gets out of the gate. I'm still not really sold on him being like a 1.25 mile horse. We'll see how he handles 9 furlongs on Saturday. But one thing's for certain in my mind, if for some reason he does falter, the race it just seems ripe for a massive upset. I'm not too keen on Hades or Conquest Warrior either. And then I think the Arkansas Derby is a more compelling matchup between top contenders, because you really do have 3 horses of interest in there. Mystic Dan coming off of that 8-length Southwest romp. Obviously, Muth coming back for Baffert, won the San Vicente sprinting his first 2 turn start since finishing second in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. But I'm a big fan of Timberlake, and I thought his Rebel Stakes was solid, but I'm looking for him to take a step forward. He's going to need to, in my mind, to be a serious player in the Kentucky Derby. And I like his chances in the Arkansas Derby, Ashley.
How do you see that pace shaking out with Timberlake and Muth? Do you think it's going to be a 2-horse race here, and they're just going to be from the beginning just going head to head, or do you think another might be in there?
I don't think Timberlake is. I mean, Muth could find himself on. I think he'd rather sit second as well. I mean, you do have some speed. I mean, maybe this time for Truth will come out of the gate gunning and try to show the way with Bejarano. But one thing's for certain, I mean, I do think Muth will be more prominent than a Timberlake in the early going.
You have any shot to liberal arts?
I like liberal arts, but he's going to need to take a step forward off the Southwest. So he's the kind of horse, if he ran second or third, I would definitely take a renewed look, have a renewed interest in his chances moving forward.
Well, I'll mention the other 100-point Derby prep this week in the UAE Derby, and we have number 5, Forever Young at 9-5 in this race. This horse drew a lot of attention in Pool 5 of the Kentucky Derby Future Wager. He closed at 12-1. He's a Japanese runner, and the thing is, James, you've talked about it too, until we see it happen, you're not going to bet on him because a Japanese runner has not won the Derby. They're 0 for 6 and have not even finished in the money or even hit the board in the 6 starts that they have had the Derby. The UAE Derby also hasn't necessarily been a great prep either because we've had 19 starters with none of them finishing in the money, but seems like a lot of people think Forever Young is going to defy history this year. So I'm interested to see how he handles 1 3/16 of a mile. That'll tell me a lot about whether I should include him in my wagers in the Derby, but I made that mistake last year. I let everyone talk me into Dermisota Gake, and then we didn't have him hit the board either. So,
Nick, what do you think about Forever Young?
It's going to be interesting, right? I mean, I do think, and I will run the risk of saying this, but I do think that the Japanese are going to Derby at some point. I know that's history is a long time, but it's going to happen. They're winning too many meaningful races worldwide to get shut out. It's just going to take the right horse in the right year, and maybe this is the year, right? Our crop of horses is hardly any kind of tremendously strong lot, and so I'm intrigued to see how he performs on Saturday. Also, if there's any kind of appreciable track bias, as we've seen in the past, the inside can get very good on Dubai World Cup night. So it'll be very interesting to see how it shakes out and if somebody can come over and defy history.
The thing he has going for him that both the Thurgraph and Ragusan sheets both gave him numbers for his last 2 races. They're extremely fast. I think he's already in favor with the sheep players in a sense. And he drew post 13. You know, the jockey kept him intentionally wide in the Saudi Derby, took no kickback at all with that wide trip. And, you know, drawing post 13, I could see a similar trip, overland trip, where he doesn't take any kickback. That makes me hesitant. I want to see him take kickback before he gets in a 20-horse Derby field. But well, you said it. I mean, he just may be that talented. So it's going to be fascinating to watch.
I'm with you, Nick.
No question about it. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, we'll get a Japanese runner eventually to win the Derby. So will it be this year or another year? We'll see. I also think Guns and Glory looked interesting at 10-1 in that race. This is a gun runner colt out of an elusive quality mare. So like the pedigree there, but definitely interested to see how Forever Young performs this weekend. And yeah, we'll just see what happens with the Derby, the Kentucky Derby as well. That's all the time we have today. Thank you, Nick, for joining us. Hope you enjoy opening day. You're playing my team that I watched a lot growing up, the Yankees. So I can't root for the Astros. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's been a good 9 years for Astros fans when it comes to the Yankees.
And good luck at Keeneland, Nick.
Thank you. Same to you guys.
All right, we'll be back next Thursday with more best bets and fades, and head to TwinSpires for all those promos I mentioned earlier, and good luck this weekend.